All right, we are back for episode 125 of Digital Divination, and I don't know what to do because there's no disclaimer this episode.
It's $1.25.
A buck and a quarter.
This
Yeah.
December 5th. No, wait. Shoot. It's not the 5th.
23rd. It's the 23rd.
Yeah.
But there's no Ron today. He is.
Yeah, I know.
He is. He said he's helping friends, and then I hear that he's doing a Skull and Shackles game. So I think he's helping pirate with friends. I'm not quite sure now.
Well, any friend you can pirate away from is a good one.
It's like,
that one, I'm sorry, that one got away from me a little bit. I was going somewhere else with it, and my mouth decided to just say a different thing.
Oh, that's fine. Well, Jason, it's Christmas Eve, and we celebrate Christmas, and I know you celebrate a variety of things.
Yes.
I just want to wish you happy holidays.
Yes, and happy holidays to you, John.
And to our listeners who, if they do listen to this before the holidays, this comes out the day after, though.
The day after. There's still some holidays.
Yes, still some other holidays.
Hanukkah's still going at that point this year, and then New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
always a good celebration. Yeah.
Yeah, Hanukkah starts on the 25th. Is that right?
Yeah, it starts this Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's wild. That's
we're having latkes for Christmas dinner, which is going to be great.
I'm not sure.
Latkes. Why did I say latkes? Latkes. Potato pancakes.
Yeah. I had a really good friend of mine who used to live across the street, was Jewish, and so we would celebrate Hanukkah with them. It's kind of fun.
Good.
But I was thinking, in light of the holiday season here, that we would talk some, just kind of about holiday traditions. And I don't even know if we can talk about any Starfinder holiday traditions. It's not old enough to have a lot of traditions, but maybe just talk about our own traditions.
Yeah. I mean, people talk about Veskmas and something. I'm behind on the lore on the Vesk winter solstice holiday.
Right.
I'm sure there's something there. Well, but to sort of get into that, because this is maybe it's a new tradition, but currently a little bit interrupting my current traditions. Tell you a little story about why I couldn't record last time. Because of a bunch of stuff. And this relates to the story I told before Thanksgiving, if you recall, that I was going to go to the dog library and borrow a dog for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And I never told you how that all went. And it went pretty well. I got this dog. We got Oreo, who's this sort of black and white spotted guy. Because I had walked him a couple times during my volunteer work. And I brought him back Thanksgiving. That morning I went into the shelter and volunteered. And then we also gave meals to all the dogs, Thanksgiving meals to all the dogs. They were mostly frozen at that point still too. So
the dogs. Oh, that's so awful.
No, not the dogs weren't frozen. No, the meals were frozen a bit. But they got them and all at that point. And then I got found someone to be like, hey, can I take Oreo home for the night?
Yeah.
Brought him home. He was a sweetheart. I may have posted some pictures on social media. And so he stayed the night, slept in the bed. He was a real snuggle bunny. And then I take him back the next day. I kind of was like, I was going to bring him back first thing, but I was like, the shelter doesn't open until noon. I'll get him back before that. So we kept him a couple extra hours. Took him back. It was a little tough for me because I was going to then do a shift. And then I decided I walked like 2 dogs and I was too sad because I was already missing him. That weekend, over the course of that weekend, we said, let's decide to see if we can ask to foster him just for an extended period of time. So until he gets adopted, because he is a little too, just in general, also probably too big for this house and our current situation. But we thought we'd try to foster him. So I set up some sent out some emails. And that Sunday, I was waiting to hear back. We heard, Oreo, someone already took him home for a trial adoption. 2-week trial adoption. Great. Yeah. Oh, great. The reverse jinx, we were calling it. It's basically because we wanted them, someone else got them. Great. Fantastic. So then we said, let's start fostering another dog. Let's set up some time for that. So we set up a meeting for that coming Wednesday. We got to the shelter that Wednesday to go meet this other dog. And they were like, Oreo. We had said before this, hey, if that trial adoption doesn't work, let us know. And it didn't, unfortunately. He had been brought back, maybe even that morning, I think. by the or maybe the previous day by the family that had trial adopted him because they had a young kid and he is kind of rambunctious. He's kind of he's a 1-year-old dog. He's like
Oh
65 pounds.
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
a little too
yeah,
big probably for the
yeah.
kid. Although he's a sweetheart most of the time. So we took him. So he's like, okay, we'll take him. We brought him back, and he was great for a little bit, and then we had him for like a day or two, and it was like the next day. We got to the point of time where it's definitely, since he's 1-year-old, what's called the demon hours, which is around dusk, and he started biting. Basically, he was getting real bitey, chomping on clothes mainly, but he'd
Yeah.
get a little nip. He didn't break the skin or anything, but he would scrape the skin a little bit, and he was bruising us. So we kept him for we were trying to figure out what to do. He's just chomping on everything we can, toys and food. If we give him food, he would eat the food, maybe lick a Kong for a little bit, and then once he was done with that, back to chomping. But then once 10 o'clock rolled around, he'd conk out and go to sleep and sleep through the night. It was getting to be a little too much for after a couple of days of this. Couldn't figure out what to do. I was distracted. I was trying to get, I had a couple of days of work that to do before the weekend and freelance projects that I'm working on. It was just getting a little too much and to deal with because he was getting too excited by me specifically, and our housemates was getting a little also just kind of staying in his room because the dog would just come out and bite everyone's clothes. So we had a tough time about that, and then that was the Sunday we were going to record. I was like, I can't record. It's during
Right,
the
right.
bad times. He'd just come in here and start chomping at it. I need to help my wife figure this out. Eventually, we decided that we couldn't continue fostering him. So that Tuesday, we had to take him back. It was very sad. Again, very sad. I hope someone gets him. Someone hopefully will snatch him up soon. Because he is a good dog. He just needs to learn a little bit, and maybe he needs another dog to teach him not to bite so much. I don't know.
Right.
We just didn't have the capacity to train him that. So then we waited. Well, maybe we won't do anything. We waited a week. And then we decided, well, let's have a guest for Christmas. Right. We were getting sad, lonely a little bit, empty nesting a little bit, I guess. And then so we met another dog this past Thursday, Coco, who was the dog we were going to meet the first time
Mm.
because she's been in the shelter for a little bit. She's getting a little sort of, over anxious with all the other dogs there and that
Mhm,
sort of thing.
mhm.
So we met her. She clicked with us out in the yard. We brought her home. She's clicking. She's doing great right now. She's also she's 4. So she's a little older, a little smaller. She's about 50 pounds. And this sort of beautiful, so she's sort of chocolate colored all over, basically, in her nose, her eyes, just this beautiful brown. Maybe she's got one white spot on her armpit. And so yeah, so we're teaching her stuff. She needs to get a little energy out, so get a little. She likes to play tug, so we got a couple tugs, and she'll just bring it over. She's like, "I want to play this," and get a little much oh, we're trying to do other things, but
Right, right.
but sometimes she'll just take her out, running around the backyard. She's been really getting fascinated with birds, and so that's where basically my whole story is a couple 2 or 3 weeks of just ups and downs, lots of emotional roller coasters. So basically, our Christmas, well, for me, our Christmas traditions are revolved mainly around me taking a lot of time off of work, and then doing jigsaw puzzles.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we put a table in front of the TV. We put on Christmas music or Christmas movies and do a jigsaw puzzle. Uh, I did manage to do one jigsaw puzzle before because we have 3 this year. We usually have 1 or 2. And to get one done before Coco came here, and I'm working on another one, but we had a second one which was too hard, kind of. It's just all the pieces are weird shapes, and she was trying to get up on the table, and bite the pieces, so that had to get put aside. So I grabbed the one that was going to be a little more easier, and I just did the frame for it this morning.
Mhm, mhm.
And so, but still, she's trying to jump on the table a little bit. It's a little distracting. We haven't really watched as many Christmas movies yet as we would normally do. But then, that's essentially the tradition with Christmas movies. Christmas morning, we do Christmas cinnamon rolls. I don't know if you can hear that. She's in her crate right now, just chomping, looking for food.
Yeah.
Um, uh, we do Christmas cinnamon rolls Christmas morning for breakfast, and then we again sort of hang out, Christmas movies, maybe watch Muppet Christmas Carol. Got to watch
Mhm.
that every year. Got to watch the Hogfather adaptation. I don't know if you're familiar with Terry
No.
Pratchett's Hogfather book.
Uh-uh.
There's a BBC adaptation. It's maybe 3 hours long total.
Yeah.
Very good. I recommend that. And then some other, maybe we'll probably watch Elf. We'll probably watch Home Alone.
Yeah.
Classic Christmas movies. And then to sort of extend the tradition, we do the Hanukkah stuff. We do the latkes, and Paula might make the donuts. The name I can't quite pronounce, but souffegnot, something like that. I'm butchering it. And then New Year's Eve, we'll watch The Apartment, which is a New
Oh,
Year's Eve movie.
yeah.
In case you didn't know,
I actually did not know that.
it
Yeah.
it basically ends on New Year's Eve. Like the
Mhm.
last scene is during New Year's Eve, so it's kind of a Christmas movie too, but mostly a New Year's Eve movie.
Wow. I'm just thinking when you mentioned that, I'm thinking when you were saying a movie on New Year's Eve, I was thinking Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
a good.
because that
Yeah,
one
that
ends
could be a
on New
good.
Year's
That
Eve,
would.
right? On the Empire
Yeah,
State Building kind of thing. So
I imagine. I wonder if they did that as a sort of an homage to The Apartment.
I would
I mean, it's just a
not be
coincidence. It might be a
surprised. Yeah,
coincidence.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well that's fine. We
that's it.
don't have we have a little bit of a fostering issue we're doing right now. So my
Oh,
daughter came down from uh, British Columbia. She goes to school at UBC. She's doing her PhD
hmm
there, and she has two cats. They're like 4
oh,
and 3,
yeah.
and they travel with her, and then they stay with us. Well, last night we were supposed to record, and our
Oh, yeah.
truck that she was driving in broke down, and we had to go pick her up, and that actually got towed today to a shop. So we picked her up and her cats, and they're just so much fun to have around because they're
Oh,
young and they run around, and
yeah.
they're usually in her apartment. She has a 2-bedroom
hmm
apartment up there with a friend, and they're usually kind of in there, not a lot of space. And they get here, they have all this space, and they know they can sneak out, and they just love to sneak out and go out and play in the wilderness. And I have to
Oh
go out there
gosh.
and call and call and call. Yeah, and usually we're pretty good. Like they were here over the summer, and they never got out like the whole time because
Hmm.
I just kind of it was a new house, right? We just got this house in the summer. I was afraid, well, they're not familiar with the house. If they get out, they won't come back, or they won't know how to come back, whatever it is. So really, really careful. And then like I, I just get back from getting the truck towed and taking care of it at the shop, and my wife says, "Oh yeah, don't close the garage door. The cats got out." I said,
Oh.
okay." But one of the things that I learned when they're out, that if my daughter goes and calls for them, they'll come around. And so I
Gotcha.
started doing that when they would get out at the various other houses. And sure enough, I got them both to come in and go
Oh,
back in the
that's good.
house. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
they kind of know this is home. But they're just one of them just really really loving. It just will kind of get up on you and nuzzle you the whole time.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
other
yeah.
one takes them a little while. Used to be
Sure.
like we had him for like 3 months, and it wasn't until like the last 3 weeks that he would start being feeling comfortable. Now it's like 3 days, and then oh yeah, yeah, I remember who
Oh,
these
yeah.
people are, and
Yeah, yeah. They gotta get used to you. Yeah.
yeah, I mean they were both rescues, and he was
hmm
he had been on the streets and all kinds of stuff, so it was just very very
Yeah.
skittish, about
Yeah.
things.
Apparently Coco is from like they brought her in from like a homeless encampment.
Mm, hmm.
So she has also lived out on the streets, but
Right,
we were like when we brought her home that we're not sure if she's ever been inside a house actually,
right,
just the shelter because yeah, um, but she's fine. She's taking to it. She's got to learn a little bit about like what's not a toy and what is because my wife does
right.
a lot of crocheting and all that stuff is real soft and easily chompable.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
no, just the toys, the toys. We feel like, hey, hide, like all these crochet coasters that we have. We have to hide all that away.
Yes.
Crochet table runners all hidden away now at this point
Wow.
for now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of our traditions, I was thinking
Yeah.
about this. So I was wrapping presents before this,
Mm.
and one of the traditions that started before I got married, but with my wife and her family. So this would be like 40, almost 42 years ago, like when I first started dating her and stuff.
Mhm.
Is wrapping presents is making handmade bows.
Oh.
So yeah, so her family had always done handmade bows. So basically taking ribbon and building, making bows by hand. And
Hmm.
so I learned how to do it then. And so now for the past 40 years, I only put handmade bows on
Oh.
presents. And so it's like, oh yeah, okay, I got to do this. And the thing is, like, my wife has learned a couple different ways to do them much more efficient. I learned one
Mhm.
way 40 years ago, and that's the only way to do it.
That's how you
But, so I spent all this time wrapping and all this time bowing, and just literally, like, right before we got started, I finished wrapping the last of the presents. So
okay.
those are it. So that was like one of the oldest traditions. And then
Mm.
we have another tradition, and we were working on it today. We lived in Houston, and when we were on the way back from church, we would stop by this place. It was called Morning Kolaches, and we would get kolaches from there. And
Kolaches.
it's a bread wrapped around. It could be like fruit, but our favorite is a bread
Mm.
wrapped around like meat and cheese. And
Mhm.
my daughter's vegan, so she gets fake meat and fake cheese in hers now.
Oh, good. Oh, they have them there?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, we make them now from home. So
Oh, you make them now. Oh, I see.
over
Yeah,
the
right, right.
last, so this was in Houston, and we loved them so much when we moved away. My wife spent like 2 years perfecting a bread recipe to
Wow.
taste just like the way we remembered it. And she nailed that. So now this is like for 30 years, she will make kolaches, and we'll make them before Christmas. And that's what we'll eat Christmas morning.
Mm.
Along with, she makes a Swedish tea ring, which is basically a big cinnamon roll.
Yeah, like a
Um,
big Danish ring, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You just slice it individual cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, nice.
And my kids just just love those things. And my kids are like, both of them are around 30. And we were just talking about it. It's a lot of work. Like we make up a couple dozen, 3 dozen kolaches here. I think we're making four. And
Whew.
our family goes through them so fast. And then our extended family, so we visit them. It's my wife's sister's family. We visit them on Christmas Eve, and then they come visit us on Christmas Day. And when they come visit us, they know we make kolaches, and they love
Mm.
them. And so that's why we got to make more and more all the time. And it's like, oh man, it's because you got to make up the dough, and it's going to rise like for a couple hours,
Yeah.
and then you got to make them up. And one of the things we figured out is that you can actually freeze them. So sometimes we'll make them way in advance, but usually it's a couple days before Christmas, and
Mhm, mhm.
get them ready to go. So that's like a 30-year kind of tradition. And then we do, kind of what you're talking about, watching movies. One of the favorites the kids like to watch is Elf. Like
Yeah.
forever, they've wanted to watch that, and I'm like, I've seen it so many times. I don't need to see it again
But that's
necessarily.
why I like to do the puzzles while
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't really have to watch the movie. It's
Right,
there, it's on, I can
right,
hear
right,
it, yeah.
right. Yeah. Um, but yeah, those are kind of the main ones. We've always tried to visit with extended family. So even when we lived away from the area, because the Seattle area is home for us,
Mhm.
um, except when my wife was twice, I have two January babies, right? So my kids are both born January 3rd, January 10th. So except for the
Mm,
2 years
mm,
where she was pregnant over Christmas, we've
mm.
always come back to home from wherever we were throughout
Right.
the country, to do things. And it's kind of bittersweet now because you know my parents have both passed on. My wife's parents
Mm,
have both passed on, and
yeah.
now it's we're the adults, and the kids
Yeah.
are learning the traditions and stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah,
us
yeah.
as best as we can pass them on from the previous generations.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. While you're, doing ribbons or
Yeah,
or baking bread or maybe even on a drive somewhere,
yeah.
do you have, Christmas music that you like to listen to? Any
Um,
specific songs you like?
well, I have an interesting story. I'll tell you.
Alright.
Okay. So when I was in college, I was at the Coast Guard Academy. We don't get a whole lot of time off, but one of the things that we get time off for is over Christmas. And I went on. We had like a ski retreat that we could go on as part of it, and it was I don't know, it was like and it was like 7 hour drive north of where we're at. And so everybody else had gone ahead of time in vans and stuff, had a good old time. I was late because I had to do a final or something. So me and another guy drove up. This is before
Mhm.
there's satellite radio, and we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no radio stations. We had one cassette Christmas song, and we listened to it for 7 hours, and it was oh man, now Amy Grant's Tennessee Christmas. That was the Christmas
Okay.
album. And
All
and
right.
so the funny thing is you think you get tired of it, but I still really enjoy the songs on that album. I mean, I was never a huge Amy Grant follower or whatever, a listener or anything like that. But I just really kind of got into a lot of the music. And so now when I hear those, that's great. Now my wife's family, they had for a long time Johnny Mathis 8 tracks. And
Ooh,
as you may recall with an 8 track, it just keeps looping and going and going and
okay.
going.
Yeah.
And so I just remember, when I was dating her and then all the Christmases, we would go back to her family's house. Johnny Mathis always playing in the background, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Johnny Mathis. Let's go ahead. Yeah, my mom would always put on just I don't know if it was a radio station or if she had like a mixtape or something. Like
yeah,
swear it was like there are a number of songs that would be playing every Christmas, and they're currently in my also Christmas rotation.
yeah.
Basically, when I put on the Spotify playlist, right, that I we made about I don't know 5-6 years ago. And we've been adding the two, so I've been adding to it basically to spice things up.
Yeah,
But like, and it's the classic stuff, like like a Frank Sinatra.
yeah.
Uh, which one would be good? Which is the one he does? I'll be home for Christmas or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, the Bing Crosby's, right? From White Christmas and stuff.
You like the
And then
little
like
drummer
the
boy with Boy?
with Bing Crosby and Dave Bowie,
Yeah.
it's not on my list. You know
Oh, I
what?
like that.
I
That's a
haven't thought
great.
about that. I don't mind that one, but I
Yeah,
should maybe it should
yeah,
go on the list.
yeah,
And then like a couple of like weird novelty songs that I grew up listening to that
yeah,
also I assume my mom kind of grew up listening to because they're not like recent or anything. We're talking I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
yeah,
We're talking Dominic the Christmas Donkey.
yeah,
We're talking I've Been Naughty for Christmas, right?
yeah,
I'm getting nothing, right? All those songs, right? Those are
yeah,
on there. Um, and it's I don't know. Did that get that listening to this playlist is what generally gets me in the Christmassy
yeah.
mood, right? Then there's we have more recent, more quote unquote recent stuff. Is my wife really likes a song by George Strait called "Christmas Cookies."
Hmm, mhm.
Kind of ironically likes it, but I think she really likes it. Likes it.
Yeah.
That's got that sort of country twang. And then like 2 years ago, I put on Sammy Davis Jr.'s Gingerbread Man,
Oh,
which I only
yeah.
only heard for the first time during that Marvel's Hawkeye show that was
Okay.
on with Christmas. It was during
Yeah.
the credits. I was like, oh, I really like this, and I put that on there. And then I've got like at least one. There's a Ben Folds song from the Jim Carrey Grinch That Stole Christmas movie that's like from the point of view of the Grinch,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Is like just trying to living in this cave, trying to be at peace. And of course, some of the original Grinch That Stole Christmas
Right.
songs that are
Right.
on the list. What else is on this list? What else is new on there? Nothing really. I don't know.
Yeah. I
Just a
see.
mix of old stuff, really.
I don't have a curated list. I used to have. I had about like 30 Christmas CDs, and we would go in and
Okay,
cycle through
yeah.
them. When I moved up here in August, I finally parted ways with my 300 disc CD collection. I decided I'm not ever going to. We never listen to them. You stream everything now,
Sure, yeah,
and it's like,
but
oh, that's so tough.
it's
So
tough. You gotta
tough.
get rid of stuff to move.
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of stuff to move. But
Well, and I was never going to listen to them again. It's like if I really want to go listen, to one of those old songs, you can find it a million different places. It's
sure, yeah,
not a big deal. You mentioned Christmas cookies, and it got me thinking about
Mm,
another tradition is for a long time, my wife and her sister, who lives in the area as well, they would each make like 7 to 12 different types of Christmas cookies. And
mhm,
then on Christmas Eve, one of the things we do at their house is we have the grand buffet. And if anyone's ever looked at my social media, I always take a picture of the grand buffet. It's like a whole bunch of like hors d'oeuvre kind of things.
mhm,
And so they have a whole bunch set up. We bring some, like one of my favorites is pigs in a blanket, but I love bringing that. Um, but we also, everybody brings a lot of cookies. And so one of the things is, so you
Mhm.
taste everything, a little bit of everything, and then you get to try all these different cookies,
Right.
so that's kind of fun. But this year my wife's only making a couple types because she's like, it's like so much work and on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And my daughter who's staying with us is vegan. So there's like a Russian tea cake she can make. There's kind of limited. She'll make vegan chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
My favorite that she would made for me forever was no, shoot, it's the, oh, I'm forgetting the name. The molasses cookies. What are those? Ginger snaps. Um,
Ginger snaps, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
ginger snaps is what she would make forever and ever for me. And yeah, she's not making them this year. It's kind of
It's
because I'm like
rough.
the only one that eats them. So
Fair
guess
enough.
she decided I
Yeah.
didn't need that. Um, but now the sad thing is that our kids don't do a lot of baking. Right? They
Hmm.
haven't kind of picked up that mantle, and neither has my sister-in-law's kids. So I'm hoping maybe the grandkids will pick it up, and
Maybe.
if we ever get them, or maybe the kids will want to make them for their kids. I kind of hard to tell, with, oh, they'll probably come up with their own traditions like we
Sure.
have.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
mean, that'll happen, right? Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the thing.
I guess the other I don't know if this is exactly a tradition, um, but I still have my stocking that was I wouldn't say made for me, but like I know my mom purchased it and then like wrote my name on it
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah. Yeah.
glue basically, right? I still have that. I took that home and I still hang that up somewhere every year. And then
Yeah.
like at one point I made my wife one, which was and now that's sort of having that is the tradition.
Yeah.
Just sort of
No,
like putting it up, and it's part of the putting up
yeah.
lights and the tree and whatever, and just sort of getting into the mood. It really gets me in the mood.
No, it actually reminds me, like my wife made stockings for both my girls a long time ago.
Mm, nice.
And even now, like even this year, we'll hang them up and we usually stuff them with small treats and small,
Yeah,
tchotchkes is different, different little
stuff.
playthings. Because it's the thing that you can do right away before we open presents is was what it was.
Yeah.
You're allowed to mess with your stocking. You have to wait on opening presents till everybody's up. Uh,
But my mom would fill our like there would be some stuff, some fun stuff in the stockings, but she also put like toothpaste, new toothbrush, deodorant. Like this is stuff you're gonna need. I'm like, yeah, it's good. I grew to appreciate it, obviously,
yeah, 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 yeah,
but
yeah,
we don't really like put stuff in the stockings.
yeah.
I just like hanging it up.
Yeah, well, we don't have stock. My wife and I haven't had stockings. It's like this is
Mm,
just for the kids,
yeah.
that we do it. The funny thing, mentioned like useful stuff. For years, when my kids were little, my wife would make them new pajamas
Oh wow, make them.
she'd make Christmas pajamas every Christmas, and so they'd have
Wow.
something new, and they would always open them up first. Right, it was always the first
Right.
thing they could open up, and then they put them on, and then
Put them
we get
on.
whatever pictures
Hmm.
you had. Uh, I don't think my kids would wear pajamas if my wife made them now. So,
Oh, it's a shame.
yeah, yeah, no, no, that's funny. Yeah, my kids are old though. They're
Fair enough. I'm still
that's
wearing Christmas pajamas. Are you kidding me though?
yeah.
But
Not that your mom
I've got
made,
a
right?
pair. No, no, this stuff we bought.
Yeah, yeah,
I might have a matching. Might wear some matching Christmas pants,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
pajama
yeah.
pants. On the morning of, just to take a picture.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we usually do a Christmas picture too. That's when
yeah.
like for our kids, like before Christmas, we would take a picture of it. We haven't done this for a bunch of years, but we do have like one of those things that has photos over the years in it, and so we have them
Oh, cute.
all
Yeah.
every year from when they're tiny up through high school in this thing, and then it kind of stops because apparently after high school it's not really cool to do that. So
Technically not cool to do it really
ever,
anytime. It's
but
really
yeah,
schmaltzy and
yeah.
corny, but it's
Well,
I
they our
Christmas is the
kids
time for that.
they used to love it. I remember. So I did professional photography for a bunch of years, and so
Uh,
I did the photos for like maybe the last 5 or 6 years of that. And we had an exchange student from Italy, and the two girls and her, exchange student and our cat, they just love doing all those photos.
Oh,
Just
okay.
loved it. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But then they grew out of it. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
now we don't have like any, like at work, I have Christmas picture of my kids and it's like 2016. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, because that's 2016 is when my youngest graduated from high school.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, okay, I don't have any for the last 8 years. I don't have any pictures of them at all, because I have digital pictures, but I don't print them, right? Nobody prints anything
Sure.
anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. All right.
Hmm.
Do you have any Christmas Eve things? So this is Christmas
Traditions?
Eve, yeah, that we're
No,
doing.
this is. I mean, this is when we would probably be starting the puzzles and
Yeah,
the Christmas movies and whatnot. So, um, and now we just have the Christmas, uh, lo-fi music playing for the
yeah,
to chill out the dog.
yeah. Do you do anything with your roommates over Christmas, over the holidays?
I don't know, but this is the first year
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that we have the housemaid, right? Like this, this is the first year in Vancouver,
yeah,
basically. And so well, maybe there'll be. He's invited to have dinner with us, of course, but
yeah.
we'll see what we're doing.
I'm
We
just
did, we did. I don't know if this is going to be a tradition. We did start playing a very complicated board game
there you
this
go.
afternoon. It took 40 to 50 minutes to set up, and then we played like basically one age of one quarter of it over the next couple hours. So we'll see. We had to do that though out in the garage, just so the dog wouldn't try to knock, because there's a very I don't this board game gets knocked over. It's too it's
It's
done.
over. Yeah,
Yeah,
you too long
she might
set up.
start chomping. She was in there in the garage for a second and really started to kind of get at the manual, and we're like, okay, no, we got to get you out of here.
That actually reminds me of another game related tradition.
Oh
It
yes.
When I'm running a game, uh, usually if
Mhm.
I'm running a game at my house, I for the last, I don't know, 4 years, I think, I give all my players a gift.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
some gaming really, and so this year I gave, it's like a little fidget spinner.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a heavy metal one, but it's got all the dice like D4, D6,
Oh, sure. Yeah,
D8.
yeah.
Yeah, so you can just spin it,
Spin
and
it.
so you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
handheld, complete set of dice with it. So yeah, that's what I gave out this year.
Nice.
Thanks. Yeah, it's kind of.
Nice.
I always try. I don't know, just a little something, and that was just for the
Mhm.
players at my. I wasn't. Ron was running the game this year, but last year and the year before I was running it, so I gave him different game. It's hard
A
to
lot.
come up with something game
Yeah,
related
every year.
that's not going to break the bank that they don't
Yeah.
already have. That
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. 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 All of
Uh,
my a lot of the people that I play with have January birthdays, so we end up doing more birthday stuff. Like, oh, we'll do a birthday
yeah.
session.
Yeah, well, both my kids are January birthdays, and so
Yeah, you were saying.
we have to have a very distinct break. Well, we do two things traditionally: is we always
Mhm.
celebrate their birthday separate from Christmas. They never get any joint gifts like that.
Okay.
We used to give them separate birthday parties. Now, since they're older, we kind of do a joint one in between. And
Yeah.
the more interesting thing for a long time, all the time they're growing up, we did a half birthday in the summer because
Oh.
we always kind of felt like so many people other people would kind of just glob together Christmas and
Yeah.
birthdays for them. So we wanted, and they didn't realize until like they were way older that everybody didn't do a half birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. So they just say, "Oh yeah,
Funny.
we do this all the time." Okay, and it's just so they could. And that was always a small. We didn't do a big party, but they would get a half birthday gift usually.
Sure.
You might
Half of a
go
gift,
do
and
something.
give them the other half in December and
Exactly.
January.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, here's the big important thing. Here's your big fancy computer. We'll give you the password to get in at Christmas. Do you do gaming like any online gaming over the holidays?
Um, it gets oftentimes pushed back, right?
Oh
There's a lot of people, it's really kind of, as always, to get people going together. I mean, I try. I'll probably be playing something on like a video game type thing. It's easier
yeah,
to sort of drop in, drop out kind of stuff.
right,
Yeah. I
right.
think the last Thursday was my last session for the year, probably.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been an academic for like 25 years now. typically I'm off like from Thanksgiving through early
Mm,
January, and
nice.
almost usually in that time, I would play lots and lots of video games. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, from because I had such a big chunk. So usually, right after Thanksgiving, until I had to do all the Christmas prep, I would be playing a lot of a lot of stuff, and yeah,
That that reminds me though. Yeah, I'm gonna try to cram in as much video gaming as possible this week. Which reminds me, I have to probably I want to buy something off the Steam
yeah,
winter
yeah,
sale
yeah.
is happening, and I
I
gotta get
know
something off my wish list, right? But I don't know what it is yet, so we'll see.
you'll surprise yourself, and then you'll be happy with it.
I'll pick something. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's on my wish list. Of course, I want it.
Yeah, yeah. So fun. Now, man, I wish we had Ron here, but I think he
Yeah.
would have so many traditions to add. I don't think we'd have enough time to talk about it all.
Good. Well, then I'm glad he's not here. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, Ron, wherever you are, I hope you have a good Christmas and New Year, and we'll see you after that.
We'll see you soon. Stay dry, Ron.
Yes. Well, to everybody out there, have a wonderful holiday and a happy New Year, and we will see you on the other side.
Merry Happy New Year, everyone.
I'm John.
And I'm Jason, and this has been Digital Divination.